Okay, let's unpack this. We got a stack of sources today that truly push the boundaries of conventional understanding, and our goal is to navigate them together. You've given us material unlike anything we've deep dived into before.
It's true, yeah. The collection in front of us is incredibly broad and at times, frankly, bizarre. Our mission today is really to act as your guides, sort of extracting the core claims and illuminating the unexpected connections these sources make.
Right.
We're moving from what seem like modern urban legends to these highly detailed accounts of secret government operations, and then all the way back to ancient prophecies.
Wow.
Our goal is simply to present what these sources claim and how they weave their narratives together, no matter how unconventional or even, unsettling they might seem.
And these claims take a fascinating and, like you said, sometimes unsettling turn. We're going to start with a tale that sounds like pure fiction, but according to our sources, takes a very real, very creepy turn. So let's jump right into the black-eyed children phenomenon. For those unfamiliar, these are described as, well, a terrifying urban legend that's been circulating the internet since the 1990s.
Right, the classic description.
Yeah, the classic description is of kids with pale skin and completely black eyes, and this really chilling characteristic. Like vampires, the black-eyed children need permission to enter a property.
That permission element is key in most accounts.
Exactly. And one of the most unsettling details from the sources we have here is the claim that no one has ever survived inviting black-eyed children inside until now.
And this is where the urban legend allegedly transitions into a real-world incident, according to the source material we're looking at. We're told that two black-eyed children, described as an 18-year-old male and female, were arrested in Manchester just this past weekend.
Really? Arrested?
Yeah, booked on charges of trespassing and harassment. We learned that citizens had been phoning in reports of them panhandling around town for several nights, but the police couldn't intervene until they were actually on private property.
Gotcha. So they needed that specific infraction. The CCTV footage from a hotel is where this account really gets vivid, doesn't it?
It does. The source describes the pair entering the building at nearly 4 a.m. when only one front desk clerk was on duty.
Late night.
Very late. And the footage reportedly shows them talking animatedly to the clerk, even leaning over the counter to try and reach the master key behind the desk.
Oh, wow. Aggressive.
Seems like it. You can almost see the clerk's initial resistance. The source says he was holding up his hands as if to say, stop, shaking his head no, and pointing to the wall-mounted phone as if threatening to call for backup.
Standard procedure, you'd think.
You would. But then, according to the source, there's this sudden chilling shift. The clerk, described as if in a trance, just hands them the master key.
Just hands it over.
Just hands it over, and then calmly retreats to the employee break room behind his desk.
That's bizarre.
It gets stranger. What happens next is immediate and dramatic. 4 minutes later, the clerk sprints from the break room, phones the police, and pulls the fire alarm.
Pulls the fire alarm. Why?
To get all the hotel guests out of the room so they cannot be coerced in letting the black-eyed children inside. That's the rationale given.
Ah, okay, so a quick thinking move after snapping out of whatever that was. And when the police arrived and searched the hotel,
the documents state they found the two black-eyed kids hiding in a maid's closet.
in a closet.
Yeah. The narrative posits they had used the master key to get into the hotel's laundry room. Apparently, the male stole a pair of maintenance coveralls and the female stole a maid's outfit.
So their plan was?
Allegedly, yeah, to get inside the guest rooms by posing as hotel staff.
Unbelievable. What about the kids themselves, the eyes?
Right. This is maybe the strangest part. The segment concludes with details from their medical examination. The pair couldn't provide names or any ID to the police. Nothing. And the doctor called to examine them reported that aside from their pupilless, fully black eyes, that's the description, and these eyes were specifically confirmed by the medic to be completely real. Not body modification, not contacts, not tattoos.
Right.
Real.
Whoa.
But otherwise, the report says they were otherwise healthy, normal 18-year-olds.
Healthy? Normal. Except for the completely black eyes and the weird behavior.
Yeah, exactly. They are currently being held in protective custody, according to the source, with no further details released to the media at this time. This story, I mean, if you take the source at face value, it really blurs the line between, like, internet folklore and something happening in the real world.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yep.
So if these seemingly fictional encounters can, allegedly, manifest, what about claims on a grander scale? Those whispers of hidden government operations, secret facilities, stuff that's always fascinated people.
Well, that leads us directly to our next set of sources. These detail a vast network of current operations, including secret underground facilities and corporations. And what's fascinating here, or at least what the source claims, is that this information was supposedly developed at the request of Congressman Christopher Cox and later briefed to President Obama.
A congressman and Obama. That's a bold claim.
Very bold, and the source insists witnesses are allegedly available to be subpoenaed by Congress. What's compelling about these claims really isn't just how strange they are individually, but the sheer volume and detail. It suggests, a meticulously constructed alternative reality for people who follow these theories.
The scale and alleged secrecy of these operations are truly something. Let's dive into some of the specific examples our sources provide. In California, we hear about Edwards Air Force Base and its subsections, including the Lockheed Skunk Works operations.
Yeah.
That's famous for experimental aircraft.
Free Skunk Works is legendary.
Then there's also the closed Norton Air Force Base, where an anti-gravity device, they call it an alien reproduction vehicle.
An ARV, yeah. That term pops up a lot in UFO circles.
Essentially, a craft supposedly reverse-engineered from alien tech. And the sources claim schematics exist. This thing was reportedly seen by Frank Carlucci, a former Secretary of Defense, and others.
Carlucci's name being attached gives it a veneer of credibility, at least within these narratives.
Definitely. But maybe the most important facility mentioned is in Utah, near Provo. It's called the Dugway Proving Grounds.
Dugway, yeah. Known for chemical and biological testing historically.
But this source describes it as entirely all underground with classified airspace overhead and no roads into this facility, completely hidden.
Moving across the U.S., the sources also point to New Mexico. They mention Los Alamos National Labs with underground connectors to the so-called Dulce area where the biological work is being done, along with Kirtland Air Force Base.
Dulce. That's another infamous name in these kinds of stories. The alleged site of human-alien conflicts underground.
Precisely. Then in Arizona, near Fort Huachuca, we hear about an underground base where, and get this, one of our witnesses who will testify worked on 9 separate extraterrestrial vehicles that had been down through advanced electromagnetic pulse weapons.
Wow. Downed UFOs. And
Yeah.
biologicals.
Yeah, the source claims several different species of extraterrestrial biologicals are stored at that facility. Stored bodies, essentially.
Okay, this is escalating quickly. What else?
The claims don't stop there. There's also the special compartmented area of Cheyenne Mountain, NORAD, where witnesses claim to have tracked extraterrestrial vehicles in our solar system that were measuring 26 miles in diameter.
26 miles.
Miles, not feet. Miles. And it's not just the U.S. The sources briefly touch on international claims, specifically Pine Gap, the so-called Alice Springs facility, which is mostly a U.S. Air Force facility, even though it is in Australia.
Pine Gap. Another major listening post, supposedly involved in all sorts of secrets.
Exactly. And what's also fascinating here is the claim of transdimensional systems tech said to allow travel or communication between different dimensions.
Transdimensional, like parallel universes.
That's the implication. Developed, allegedly, by a scientist at the Redstone Arsenal. This scientist was reportedly under contract with the Sources Project to bring these energy devices out, but was then threatened by a former CI director and what I call the Goon Squad.
Threatened. So a cover-up.
That's the narrative presented. It paints this picture of a massive, hidden world operating just beneath the surface of our known reality.
It's the scale and, the alleged secrecy of these operations that truly stand out. But what's truly mind-bending is how our sources then take these hidden activities and weave them into a narrative far older. We're talking like ancient texts and prophecies.
Right. This brings us to the audacious core premise of our final source, the assertion that aliens are, in fact, fallen angels.
Okay. Fallen angels, like biblical fallen angels.
Exactly. The biblical context provided is that a third of the angels, including Lucifer, were cast out of heaven to the earth. This third is presented as a significant portion of the heavenly host, setting the stage in this narrative for their long-term interference here on earth.
And Lucifer.
Lucifer, we're told, is a liar, the great deceiver who hates us because God loves us and he wants to damn as many of us to hell with him that he can. Standard theological view, but applied differently here.
And the sources connect this directly to the story of Noah's Ark. How?
Yeah, the claim is that the fallen angels mated with us, the women, and created half-breeds or hybrids. Nephilim, basically.
The Nephilim.
Yeah.
Giants in the Old Testament.
Exactly. And according to this narrative, that's why God destroyed humanity, except for Noah's bloodline. The idea here is that the bloodline was corrupted by the angels, meaning, individuals whose genetic or spiritual purity was compromised, making them susceptible to manipulation.
Okay, so fallen angels corrupted the human bloodline before the flood. How does that connect to aliens now?
The source draws a direct parallel. This is what aliens do. Simple as that. It elaborates on common alien abduction accounts, stating that sperm taken from men and women impregnated only to be abducted later, and their hybrid child taken from them.
The classic abduction tropes.
Yeah.
Missing time, medical procedures, hybrid babies.
All of it. And this is framed as the aliens creating hybrid corrupting the bloodline, which, the source claims, fulfills the prophecy that the end days will be as in the days of Noah, wicked and corrupted bloodline.
So history repeating itself, but with aliens instead of angels this time. Or rather, angels disguised as aliens.
That's the assertion. And the technological connection is equally stark. The source claims that the fallen angels taught man advanced technology to build monuments, buildings, weapons of war, etc. Ancient astronaut theory, basically.
Chariots of the gods stuff.
Right. And this is directly mirrored, the source says, by the claim that the aliens are doing this with our government right now, in secret. Trading technology for, well, presumably access to humans or resources.
And they point to evidence.
As evidence, the source points to things like ancient hieroglyphics with spacemen and UFOs, concluding that the so-called aliens have not just arrived recently, they have been here the entire time. They are the fallen angels.
It's a complete reframing of both ancient history and the modern UFO phenomenon.
Completely. And to reinforce this demonic connection, the source offers two key pieces of alleged evidence. First, that both atheist and Christian scientific researchers have studied alien abductions and came to the same conclusions, implying a non-physical, perhaps deceptive or spiritual element.
Okay, what's the second piece?
Second, that victims of both demonic possessions and alien abductions report having similar experiences: paralysis, shadowy figures, feelings of dread, sexual violation. The source sees overlap.
Similar subjective experiences.
And then there's a specific striking anecdote about an ex-CIA agent, former CIA, who, when encountering aliens in an underground facility, simply said Jesus under his breath, causing the alleged aliens to scream and took off running down the hall.
Wow, okay. That's presented as pretty direct proof of their demonic nature within this framework.
Seems to be the intent.
This grand narrative then expands even further, right, to include the Illuminati. How do they fit in?
Well, the source claims that the aliens or fallen angels continued mating with humans after the flood and over the centuries placed hybrids into key political positions of world leadership.
So the corruption of the bloodline continued, creating secret lineages.
Exactly. These elite hybrids in positions of power all over the world decide on strategic plans concerning the New World Order takeover. This includes, according to the source, placing presidents in office, starting wars, planning economic takeovers, all orchestrated by these hidden hybrid elites.
The classic Illuminati conspiracy, but with an explicit fallen Angeladian hybrid twist.
Precisely. The source goes on to detail specific New World Order prophecies and their alleged mechanisms. The Georgia Guidestones, that mysterious granite monument with 10 guiding principles.
Yeah, the one that got damaged recently.
That's the one. Described here as the fallen angels' 10 commandments. And there's this tenuous connection made to the fact that Georgia is the state where legislation tried to bring in guillotines for executions, implying a sinister link.
That feels like a bit of a stretch, connecting the Guidestones to guillotine legislation.
It does seem tenuous, but it's part of the narrative presented. This is all tied into the biblical prophecy of a one-world government, a one-world currency, a one-world religion.
End time scenario.
Yes. And the beast, who is Lucifer, will cause all to receive a mark in the right hand or forehead, and without it, you can't buy or sell the mark of the beast.
And how does the source claim this is happening now?
It gets very specific. The source claims that the RFID chip is in place now with the scanning system, and Obamacare will force everyone to receive it. It's written into Obamacare.
Okay, the RFID chip implant. That's a long-running fear in these circles. Linking it to Obamacare is also common.
And that the NSA and the IRS are spying on collecting and storing all of our information in massive computer banks, personal, medical, criminal, financial, religious, political, which will be available to the Illuminati through the RFID chips. Total information control linked to the mark.
So it paints a picture of the infrastructure for control already being built. Why hasn't the full takeover happened yet, according to this source?
The source provides an explanation they can't take completely over yet because we won't give up our guns and we can still fight back.
Ah, the Second Amendment as a bulwark against the New World Order.
That's the framing. It also cites Syria and Ukraine as examples of sovereign countries forced into war with their government's help to overthrow their governments and replace them with Illuminati hybrids.
So geopolitical conflicts reinterpreted through this lens. The source doesn't shy away from even more unsettling claims either, does it? Stuff about food additives.
No, it really goes there, suggesting murdered babies from abortions are used in food flavoring additives, effectively making consumers cannibals without their knowledge. Extremely. And also that military zombie drills aren't about zombies at all, but are training soldiers to shoot unarmed civilians because, to the elites, we are the zombies.
Good grief. Okay, so what's the ultimate warning here, the conclusion?
The segment concludes with the source's ultimate dire warning. Soon all the countries will be controlled by the hybrid Illuminati elites or fallen angels, and the Antichrist will begin his reign. And the final consequence for those who don't conform: anyone who does not have the seal of God on their forehead or receives the mark of the beast will suffer the wrath of God and end up in hell with Satan and the other fallen angels.
Pretty stark.
Very. The source ends with this blunt statement: it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not, it's happening. Oh, you don't believe in God or hell, you better wake up. This is your wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
At its core, this narrative offers this profound reinterpretation of history and current events, doesn't it? Reframing seemingly disparate things, UFOs, politics, technology, as this singular, ancient, cosmic battle. It provides a totalizing framework.
Wow. Yeah, what an absolutely wild journey we've just taken through these sources, from an urban legend about black-eyed children allegedly manifesting in Manchester, to claims of vast, secret underground facilities, all connecting back somehow to ancient prophecies of fallen angels, hybrids, and a new world order supposedly taking shape right now.
It truly has been quite the ride. Our role, as always, is just to impartially explore the information provided in the sources you give us. Our goal was simply to present the claims, the connections, and the stark warnings laid out within this unique set of material, allowing you, the listener, to grapple with the ideas presented.
What's fascinating here is, well, it's how these disparate claims about current events, technology, ancient texts, how they're woven together into one grand, overarching narrative. It urges, from the perspective of these sources anyway, a radical reevaluation of pretty much everything around us.
It really does. And this raises an important question, I think. In a world saturated with information and so many dramatic claims competing for our attention, how do we choose which stories to believe about the forces shaping our world? And maybe more importantly, what does it even mean to be truly well-informed when faced with such extraordinary possibilities?
That's definitely something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this particular deep dive.